Would you want to leave this place where we grew up? This old town, just put it all behind. Remember you and I would always find somewhere to hide when we were kids, so we could see and hear the water run. The river's gonna cry when you're gone.
The strange thing about knowing that you're going to leave a place soon is that you just get a sense of adventure and come and see some of the things that you really want to see before. Right now, we still have a few more days, a couple of weeks to go, but we decided to come out to Sandy Mount. We've been out here before, definitely with the pool bag chimneys over there, but we never came in low tide to actually walk along the beach. Right now it's peak low tide and it goes all the way out. I don't think we're going to walk the entire thing, but we're standing right here in what used to be the bathhouses. It's cool that although abandoned now, as you can see, it is just kind of cool to think that, decades ago, this is where, the people local would come and bathe, and that the ruins it's fairly well preserved. It's cool trying to imagine what that would have been like. But it's also fairly out to sea, so I think you'd have to actually swim to the bathhouse. I need to go look at some pictures to see what exactly would have looked like back in the day.
So, after a classic Irish ham and cheese toasty, we decided to stroll a bit around Ballsbridge because, at fairness, we've never appreciated the south side enough, perhaps, still reluctant as an offsider. But yeah, there are definitely some nice spots, so we decided to come back to Herbert Park. We just missed the cherry blossom, but we got to see some very cute ducklings.
If you look closely, you can see a fish just staring at you. Yes, it is a mess. From packing to cleaning to recycling to clothes. This is what it's like when you need to move. At least these boxes were almost finished. Yeah, I bet you never see us sitting on the floor. Yeah, so this is a tired wine and rum right here. As you can see, we've got some moving boxes ready. Yeah, we're supposed to get them collected today, but man, this has been a trip.
Yeah. You'd think we don't have that much stuff considering we've already moved a bunch of time, had to get rid of stuff. But somehow, there's boxes the size that I didn't want to damage the boxes and try to see if I could sit in them, but I'm pretty sure I could sit in them. That's how big they are.
Yeah, so a little bit of context here. So you never realize how much stuff you actually have when you live for almost 4 years in a place. Well, right now, to get this moved over, what we're doing is we were searching online and we found this place that kind of does some deliveries. So they'll come, pick it up, and then ship it to your new location. No reviews or anything from them yet because we have to see how the service goes. So hopefully all of our stuff there remains intact. Spent last night just making sure everything was packed. We bought some packaging paper and some very sturdy boxes here. So hopefully everything makes it there in one piece.
One piece, lol.
Yeah, so our plan for today is basically we've got to clean this place, get everything else packed, get the suitcases packed. There is a lot to do, man. And we thought, oh, this is going to be fine and simple and easy. And we will just, go sightseeing and all this other sort of stuff before we leave. We're still doing that stuff, still squeezing some of those videos in. You probably saw them already, and if you didn't, they're coming afterwards. But yeah, we're going to stop this now. We've got to go actually do some work. We're here, about to get ready to leave the flat. It is mad to see it actually empty. So you know what that means? Empty flat tour. So yeah, I guess this is it. We gotta, pretty much give back the keys after this. So end of an era, so they say. So here we have the kitchen, your standard kind of new build, neutral colors kind of kitchen. Of course, the place was fully furnished, came from microwave, oven, electrical stuff, fire protection things. Nice to have. But yeah, this is basically where we would have had all the appliances and stuff. Standard kind of cupboards. That's what it is. And of course, onto the living room and dining. Basically, open layout. Hey, remember this place? Two big chimneys. Told you it was everywhere. Yeah, so basically, kind of small living room, kind of a long type thing. Came with some lights, chairs, glass table. Glass tables are hard to clean. I don't recommend them. And yeah, a sofa, which wasn't very comfortable. So, that's the thing. Of course, these are air. Those are windows and doors. We're on the ground floor. So we never actually opened it because that pretty much looks right into a walkway of people. So not much privacy there. So that was one of the negatives of this place here. And now let's go to the other rooms in the house. Basically, hallway. We all know what these things are. Yeah, the storage stuff is empty, but that would have been storage as well. So yeah, this is the other side. Bedroom, lamps, mirrors, all that sort of stuff. And the thing we kept complaining about, the heater. Yes, by the door. Why couldn't it be like over there by the bed? I don't know. Going into what would be the primary bedroom, which we actually didn't use as the primary bedroom. If you recognize this wall here, that is where we had our desk set up. So most of the YouTube videos when we're home sitting, I'd actually move the bed there to that corner, and this wall here is where the desk were arranged against. So we'd been sitting there with this arrangement. Actually has a more private kind of view through this window. So this was the better room overall to spend most of the time in. So we didn't use it for just sleeping. So it was almost, too good for that. Another big mirror with the place. And yeah, this would have been the bathroom for the ensuite. Yeah, it's a bathroom, not much else to say about that. So, as you saw, 2 bedrooms, and then this would have been the main bathroom here. Yeah, not much to see here. Hallway and storage area where you kind of have all your equipment stuff. And that, my dear friends, is basically the flat. So yeah, that's where we've been living here in Ireland for the past 3.5 years. But this will have been the longest place that we've lived. All right, and that concludes the house tour. So it's very crazy how actually close to the airport we live. So crazy, in fact, that we're staying at the airport hotel instead of the flat for the last, night before in Ireland. Why? Because flights to Austria are always around 6 or 7 a.m., which means that we definitely couldn't have, left the keys or anything or actually moved out because no one's at reception at 6. Actually, no, it'd have to be like around 4 or 5 a.m. to do that. So our only alternative was to already be checked out and be somewhere so we can get there pretty quickly. So we still have our time left in Ireland. Just going to check out this room here and then think about dinner. Yes, need to get some sleep, rest. It's exhausted. I'm forgetting my words. You see, that's what it's like. Yeah, so I'm at the airport hotel now, and yeah, about to go to sleep, but I figured I'd old y'all a story. Now, remember, I was talking about the boxes? Yeah, and I was like, yo, if this goes through, I'm not going to mention the company yet, because I got to see how they actually perform. Guess what? Said company, well, third party, did not show up at all. Yeah, no, it was crazy. I was there at home, with the wine, waiting. And then I was like, okay, that's weird. I guess they didn't show up today. They're probably going to show up tomorrow. Didn't really get a notification. Next thing you know, I go check and I see that the order has been cancelled. I'm like, wait, how? They missed me. Shipper wasn't there or shipper wasn't available. So I'm there like, yo, what going on? So I called up. It was, well, okay, so how this thing works is that there's actually some company named Eco Parcel, and they kind of use third-party shipping. So they were using DPD in this case. So I had to call up DPD and was saying, yo, this person seemed to never show up and it was cancelled. What went on here? Apparently, dude tried to call me. Well, sorry, person. I don't know who it was. Tried to call me and claimed that they couldn't get through. And so that was that. I'm there looking at my phone and like, wait, there's no missed call, anything. I was home here. So this was a Friday. So I was thinking, okay, go, try again, nothing. Try again on Monday. Then I go to their support page. This told me I should always learn to use Trustpilot instead of looking at other random reviews, because their support was actually just it was a live chat, but it wasn't live. They said they would respond as soon as possible. So I'm thinking, it's 4 o'clock on a Friday when I've seen this message. There ain't no way I'm getting anybody to sort this for Monday. And I'm thinking, man, I got a flight. I got to get stuff over there. So what I ended up doing, wise old me remembered, hey, there's some other options there. So I've gone with another option, and they did come and pick up the, what do you call it? Yeah, the boxes yesterday. Yeah, I was kind of cutting it a bit close there. But yeah, no. Yeah, I'm going to do this in real time because the boxes haven't arrived yet. I'm not even in Austria. Well, by the time you see this, I am, but I'm in a hotel. So I want to get what mesh the other company I'm using. If it works out, I would give them a recommendation. Not sponsored or anything, but just, yeah. So you don't need to go through that stress again.
Was definitely an expensive choice, but it removed so much stress from the whole process. It gave us the extra time we needed to hand back in the keys, make sure we got everything settled with moving out of the flat. And then once we arrived at the airport hotel, we could just finally breathe and relax for the night. And we had a lovely walk in the park, saw some sequoia trees unexpectedly, had some delicious dessert, had dinner, and got an early sleep, not having to worry about finishing cleaning up the flat. And tomorrow morning, there'll be a shuttle bus outside the hotel to get us to the airport for 4 p.m. 4 a.m. The main reason the airport hotel was also necessary for us was because, well, flights to Austria for some reason always leave super early from Ireland. Ours tomorrow leaves at 6 a.m., which means we're leaving at 4 a.m. to take the shuttle bus to the airport and be there pretty much as soon as it opens. So without that, we actually literally wouldn't have been able to move out of the flat because we needed to hand back in the keys, and I doubt the landlord would show up at 3 a.m. for us to give back the keys.
Hey, I was hoping you would stay, but I've always known you would go and find your own way. I still see when we climbed up in those trees, 12 years old, to feel the wind and watch.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're making our descent now into Vienna. Please ensure now that your seatbelts are securely fastened, your tabletop is clipped up, and your seat back is in the fully upright position with the armrest down.
River's gonna cry when you're gone. It's gonna cry, it's gonna cry. River's gonna cry when you're gone. It's gonna cry, it's gonna cry. Hey, I heard you want to leave this place where we grew up. This old town just leave it all behind. The river's gonna cry when you're gone.